Ayo. Wait, are we gonna do the thing?
Alright, are we gonna
let's
start here?
Can I reach it?
No, I gotta move out that way. I gotta move the right way.
What's good, y'all? Welcome to the channel. My name is YoTizzler, and I'm here with a special guest today.
Woo woo, nitehoot.
So we're back again with another podcast. Today we're going to be talking about one of our favorite movie series. A lot of people are enjoying them right now. They're the Marvel movies. We're going to talk about Infinity War is about to come out on Friday. Was that the 27th?
Yes.
Friday the 27th, and we are hyped for it, and we're trying to get y'all hyped for it too. So we're going to give y'all our predictions basically on what is going down in Infinity War, from who's surviving, who's dying, who's doing what, who's where all the Infinity Stones at. We're covering all that stuff today. So without further ado, we might as well go ahead and get started.
We're going to roll off the cuff because generally the reason we got together and decided to have this video is because since they've been changing so much stuff between comics and movies, we thought it would just be fun to be able to sit down and discuss just the films. We're just going to talk about the films and where the films are leading us and if they're telling us the right stuff, or not the right stuff, but like what the films are telling us. Where's the story going? What's going to happen to these characters that we have watched grow and fight beside each other
10 years
and save the world?
That's a long time.
18 movies, I think I saw.
That is a lot of movies.
18 movies.
That might be more than just like the non-superhero movies that I've watched in my life.
That's 2 full Harry Potter series.
That's insane to think about, but it's awesome at the same time.
All right, so let's jump into it. So just to give you guys a little bit of background, first thing we're going to talk about is the importance of the gyms.
Yep.
So the gyms, it's going to be a bad comparison. He's probably going to like edit me out for it. The gyms are the Dragon Balls of this universe.
Okay.
Essentially, they're not really wish granting, but they give you all power and omnipotence as if you
powers.
And when we say godlike, we're not talking about Thor God. We're talking about
real God,
the creator God. So that gives you, the gems will give its wielder the power to do anything. And so Thanos, our big purple man we've seen chasing everybody around, intimidating everybody in all these trailers, he has been after these gems for a long time. Yep. We've seen him, he's pretty much been the post-credit scene.
Yep.
In like every film.
The Mad Titan, some call him.
Exactly. And so we don't really know his motivations. We can't even say that the movie has given us any clues because,
not really.
Okay, I told my brother here, I said the one thing I'm going to mention from the comics is that Thanos is heavily influenced by death, and when I say death is a
cosmic entity,
a somewhat sensual lady. Yeah. Also, that Thanos is
infatuated with.
Yeah,
he's got the hots.
I don't think she really cares, but she's not in this universe, so we're not talking about her. But that could be a possible.
She might come in.
She might come in. There's a possible possibility. We're not closing doors, but. Yeah. So anyway, that's what we're speaking to as far as his motivations. But he wants these gems really bad, and he's going to get them. And we're seeing him. We've already seen in the trailers. He has 2 in his glove. Yeah,
he has 2. Which 2?
I think it was blue and purple. So that would be space and power.
Power. Yep.
So YoTizzler.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just start by going down what each of the stones are, what they do. So basically, the stones were formed before the universe or at the same time as the universe. They're like the physical representation of the aspects of the universe. So you have time, reality, power, mind, space, and soul. And each of them has, one of their own colors. So time is the green stone, reality is red, power is purple, mind is yellow, space is blue, and soul is orange. And as of right now, so I'm gonna rewind a little bit. So each of the stones kind of has been tied to one of the movies that progresses the plot forward. So I think the first stone we see is with the Tesseract, which is I believe that's the Space Stone, the blue one. So the Tesseract is the cube we first saw in Thor. Was Thor the first movie, or was it Captain America?
It was technically Thor.
It was,
but
Thor,
it
right?
was like it was either post credit or it was at the very end, and they didn't really talk about it.
Yeah. So we see the Tesseract, and we know that the Tesseract is the space stone. So it has the power to do things like teleport people, open portals to different dimensions, alter space, that type of stuff.
That's primarily what we see Loki use it for.
Yeah,
when he's wielding it around.
Yeah, exactly. So they use the Tesseract to open these portals to that's basically what the plot of the Avengers ends in. It's that Loki uses this Tesseract to open a portal to the dimension or the area where Thanos and his minions reside. So that's what allows the Chitauri, or Thanos's like foot soldiers, to come through and basically assault the planet to get the stones.
So just a little bit, what YoTizzler just said is that, or what I should say is what I want to point out, is that Thanos provided underlings for Loki to control when we first saw Loki's army. So just a key point, remember that later.
Right. So the Space Stone, the last place, I should talk about the last place.
Yeah, where we last see a Space Stone.
Where we last see a Space Stone, the Tesseract, is in Thor Ragnarok. There's that scene where Asgard is going through Ragnarok. Loki just released the giant fiery demon guy. Do we know his name? I don't think did they mention
he had a name, but
had a name?
I cannot remember. It's a one-syllable name.
Yeah, so he's basically just a super powerful being. He's not really that crucial to the story, but Asgard's being destroyed. We see Loki give like the side eye as he's walking by the Tesseract. He sees it and he's like,
always seeking opportunities.
Yeah,
always.
So we don't see him swipe it, but let's be honest, we know he definitely swiped it. So as far as where they were on the ship with the Asgardians that they saved, and we see at the end of the Ragnarok movie that they are intercepted by Thanos' ship. So I believe that, actually, I won't get into that yet. We'll save the predictions for later.
Well, we don't have to predict. What are the implications of this setup? Because basically this was a setup.
So yeah, setup wise, okay, we know that's Thanos' big looming ship over the ship where the Asgards are, and we know that Loki has the Tesseract. So Thanos and the Tesseract are really close together at this point, and we know that Thanos wants the Tesseract. So this basically implies that this might be one of the first gems that Thanos gets, and it could possibly be Loki that gives it to him, or because we know Loki has been a traitor in the past.
And I think there's actually a trailer scene where we see Loki holding the Tesseract.
Yeah.
Maybe holding up to Thanos, offering it in exchange for his life, probably.
Yep.
And I think, just to add a little bit to that, I think the biggest flag we can see here is that it's going to put that, like, the Asgardians don't have a home now. They keep the whole message at the end there was that Asgard is not a place, it's a people. Right. And these people are going to be in a lot of danger very soon. Right. Because they now have a big giant red flag, a giant red X that Thanos will be aiming towards.
And Thanos don't care. He don't care who you are, where you from, who your family is. He coming for them stones.
Now, granted, they have one of the best bodyguards in the business, but
they do.
Another reason I'm holding this hammer is because we all saw the hammer shatter.
But Thor don't need no hammer.
Thor doesn't need a hammer.
He's Thor.
The hammer's in here. Hammer's in here, man.
He ain't god of hammers, as my boy.
I'm the god of hammers.
Exactly.
Thor is the god of thunder.
Exactly.
So yeah, so the end of the Space Stone, we're just implying or suggesting that that's probably where we're gonna see some action go down, because that's a big wide pit. When you're trying to protect a bunch of people, it leaves you open.
Exactly. And we know ultimately that Thanos is probably going to end up with all the stones. So yeah, next stone we got, I believe the next stone we saw was the Reality Stone, which is the red stone. And we saw that in Thor Dark World. So that took the form of the Aether, which was that it took over the color scheme of the movie, actually. Yeah. Because the whole movie for Thor, it's all red and black, and the Reality Stone is red. So it's actually a liquid. Basically, the Reality Stone is just the whole movie, Thor the Dark World.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting to. But no, seriously, it's the Aether, and that is the, I guess, substance or power that the Dark Elves were trying to get. for evil reasons, of course. And then at the end of that movie, we see that they take the Aether, they contain it inside this like protective container, and they end up giving that to the Collector.
And the Collector we met in Guardians 1 because he also was he being brought the orb in Guardians, or were they picking it up from him? I think they were bringing it to him.
I believe
for bounty.
Yeah, I believe they were bringing it to him because they didn't know what it was at that point, and then they opened it and found out that that was the Power Stone.
But we'll get to that in one second. But yeah, so we see the Collector in Guardians, and he's obviously deals in strange oddities of the universe. Anything that's going to bring him some type of money or influence, he's down with, and we don't really know his intentions other than to survive or make tons of money.
Which, real quick, why did they trust him with that? I would not trust.
See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that what it is that like I was just saying is that he doesn't show one way or another, so that they're thinking, okay, well, we can at least use him for this purpose because he's at least going to protect it. He's going to protect his goods as a merchant.
Exactly. They know he himself isn't the one trying to take over the world.
Right.
But yeah, so he has the Red Stone, the Reality Stone, which has the power to alter realities, which is a pretty big deal if you're an evil guy, that you could do some things with that. But as far as he goes, I'm not really, I don't really see any huge implications on how Thanos could possibly get that stone, other than, because the Collector's hideout, isn't it kind of like far off? They call it nowhere.
Well, nowhere is a place, but it's out in the middle of nowhere. That's why it's called nowhere. But
exactly.
My weird inkling, feeling, guess here is that because you're saying you don't see Thanos, but I'm like, he could just he could go the money route. Thanos could just offer him money.
That's true too.
That's honestly, true. I'm like, I feel like it's gonna be like, write your check. Here you go.
Because I'm sure Thanos has money, and if he doesn't, he'll just steal
it from someone else, which would be to the Collector's benefit. He wouldn't have to be involved in a fight.
Exactly.
Which is probably what he wants.
Now, you might have to correct my ordering on these next couple ones because I'm a little cloudy on where the movie's running. But I believe the next stone is the Mind Stone. That's the yellow stone, the one in Vision's head. Because that was in Age of Ultron.
It depends. Did Age of Ultron come before Guardians Volume 1?
That's what I'm not positive of.
Do we need to pause the video to look this up?
Nah, it's not that important.
Okay.
But for the sake of this video, we're going to talk about the Mind Stone next. So the Mind Stone, we see it in...
Or actually, let me pause you. Pause you because the order in which we want to discuss this, the Mind Stone plays closer to Civil War. So let's talk about Power Stone, because Power Stone is out by itself with the Guardians.
Okay,
it's not really involved in the conflict as of yet.
Yeah. So so the Power Stone, that's the purple one. We first see that in Guardians 1. The Power Stone is basically, as the name implies, all powerful. We can see in the movie that it's used to basically rip people to shreds. You see when the Collector is talking to the Guardians, there's a scene where he shows a Celestial basically wiping out an entire planet of living beings with one tap of a staff that contained the Power Stone. So the Power Stone's super powerful. Ordinary humans touch it, they get ripped to shreds.
And the one thing to note, what's interesting about the Power Stone in the universe itself is its power is equal to the organic matter it's touching. So if it's touching the Earth, you have the energy equivalent to all energy on Earth.
That's a good point.
And then as YoTizzler said, the Power Stone needs to be inside of something to be used, or otherwise it's going to eat you alive. Right. Now, just to add to that, Power Stone opened up some story avenues for us, because when we first saw that Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, was able to hold the stone for a small period of time without dying, that kind of made us be like, what? What's going on with that guy?
What's up with him?
What's special about him other than that he's the main character and we know he's special? So that kind of opened up some avenues there, and then it also showed us just as YoTizzler was saying again, the epicness of this, the power, the destruction that these things are capable of, and why everybody's after them, or why everybody's trying to protect them and keep them out of the game, because that's game over. That stone is game over.
Right.
And then so I'll just quickly,
Yeah,
because the Power Stone's like very brief, because we see it's pretty much the plot of Guardians Volume 1.
Right.
And the Power Stone, after Peter Quill retrieves it, gets put in protection of Nova Corps. Nova Corps, to me, is just generic space army.
Yeah, space police.
Space police, yes. Paramilitary. And
so they're not that special or powerful, basically, is what we're saying.
So my predictions, implications of the Power Stone being under the protection of Nova Corps is that Nova Corps is going to be a red splatter.
Oh yeah.
On some part of the universe
Nova
when
Corps
Thanos
out
gets
of here.
there, because they could barely keep up against the Kree. So
yeah, so we'll see what happens to them, but what's the next stone? We got the Time Stone.
Now we can go to Mind Stone.
Right.
Now I think we should go to Mind Stone.
So Mind Stone, we see, technically we first see it in Avengers, but we don't know it's the Mind Stone until Age of Ultron. So the Mind Stone has the power to control minds, and we see Loki use it in his staff to control Hawkeye at the beginning of Avengers. And then later in Age of Ultron, they open up Loki's staff to basically find out that he was controlling Hawkeye because it was the power of the Mind Stone. And then they use this stone to create Vision, who started out as a body for Ultron made out of vibranium. Mm-hmm. And they end up putting Jarvis, so Iron Man's butler, into Vision. So now Vision is basically a good guy. So he's one of the Avengers now, but he has this super important Mind Stone basically embedded in his forehead, giving him life. And in the trailer, actually, they show Thanos. I don't know if it's Thanos, but they show somebody, like, they show Vision pinned down on the ground, and they show somebody using a scepter or a staff, like, attacking him, trying to get the Mind Stone. So I'm assuming in the trailer that's Thanos, or that's Loki, or that's somebody working with Thanos trying to get the Mind Stone. But I'm pretty sure we all know what's going to happen to Vision.
I think Vision's going to at least get rocked pretty hard to points we haven't seen yet, because we know that he's not going to give it up easily, but I don't know what he's capable of as far as
powers go. He seems to me to be on the same level as, like, Thor, maybe.
Yeah, because
he started to pick up Thor's hammer, remember?
Yeah, but Thor's hammer isn't power equated. It's like
you're the chosen one.
Well, yeah, it's your moral.
You're worthy.
So it's like he's morally worthy of carrying the torch. But here's one thing I want to point out in Age of Ultron. Just kind of want to see if you agree with me. So you have your big build up where Vision gets his body, we get the stone implanted, yada yada yada.
Right.
And so it's kind of built up around this entity, but when he's actually released and is fighting, they don't care about, like, the camera doesn't care about him anymore.
Right.
So he's just like flying around, he's like pew pew pew, but he's doing pretty much the same that everybody else is doing. So that's the only reason I say that, is that he didn't seem to stand out. No. You know, he didn't turn into, like, almighty Superman or anything.
Which I don't think he is. I think his advantages are, like I said, his vibranium body, which makes him impervious to damage, and his Mind Stone, which assumingly gives him the powers of the Mind Stone
to allow him to manipulate thoughts.
Yeah.
And because the Mind Stone also, I think they don't go into it, but the Mind Stone, I think, has the ability to, like, oh no, I'm mixing that up, so I'll stop there.
But yeah, so that's basically where the Mind Stone is. Next up, we got the Time Stone.
Yes.
And the Time Stone, we see that in Doctor Strange. It is in the amulet that he is given, that he wears around his neck.
So guys, just a note, I know I'm holding this hammer because this hammer stands for a lot for me, but if there's another prop that I could have also attached myself, it would be the friggin' cape. It would be Doctor Strange's cape.
The cape was dope.
So
cape of levitation, right?
I believe so. I think it's
because that's what gave him the power to fly.
Yeah. So extra note.
But yeah, the cape's awesome, and the Time Stone, power to control time, go back in time, go forward in time, all that type of stuff. It's in the Eye of Agamotto, which is the amulet that Doctor Strange wears, and at the end of that movie, after he uses it to beat Dormammu by trapping him in a time loop, he entrusts the amulet to, I forget his name, but he's like a monk, right?
Yeah, he's a monk at Kamertage, which is the place that Doctor Strange learned all of his current skills of. I like to say skills of the occult, because it's a little bit. I like the. There's another word for it that I can't think of right now, but I like the. It's not whimsical. I can't think of the word.
Kind of like Harry Potterish, like
but it's not. It's like magic. It is a little bit of sorcery, but I'm like, it's a good buff against the tech.
Yeah, it's like, way different.
We've got Banner and Stark, and it's all been like heavy science and like tech, and it's like then we go over here to like, I don't know, mysticism.
That's movie is way different too. Doctor Strange as a movie compared to the other Marvel movies is like the one that's so different from the rest of them. Like even the way it's shot and like directed, it's just different.
So the Time Stone is existing with people who dabble in mysticism, sorcery, and other forms of energy and matter we don't quite understand.
Right.
So I guess we're saying all that to say that there is a good chance that this stone might take a while for Thanos to get, because the people of Kamar-Taj know how to fight.
Exactly.
And they know how to. They're smart about defending themselves, and I think they're kind of like correct me if I'm wrong again. I think they're kind of like the secret. What are like the secret ninjas in Batman's story? I'm forgetting all my nerd terms. But the people that Batman trained with in Batman Begins when he was with I'm about to call
Ra's al Ghul.
Yes, I was about to call him Qui-Gon Jinn. Been watching too much Star Wars lately. Ra's al Ghul. So yeah, he kind of reminds me of that sect, or they remind me of that.
They're like the
order.
ninja assassins of mages.
Yeah, basically. So they're not like Nova Corps, where it's just a bunch of like dudes in ships with guns.
They got hired to do a job.
Yeah, they've been mentally and physically training
their entire
lives, because all they do is protect the world from this crazy stuff that we don't even know exists.
Exactly. So yeah, the Time Stones in Kamar-Taj, we'll see how hard of a time Thanos has to get, but like I said, she said, I agree that it'll probably be one of the harder ones for Thanos to get. And the last stone is the stone that we have not seen, and the stone that is in the biggest question, the Soul Stone or the Orange Stone.
All right, so my question to you, how do you want to go about discussing this? Because there are a lot of guesses, and they seem to line up. Like, this is a level of, like, in Game of Thrones, where it's like, everyone knew who Jon's parents were, but they wouldn't say who Jon's parents were.
Right.
Like, no, we didn't get confirmation forever. Right. So it's like, but everyone had figured it out, and so that's what this felt like a little bit to me.
See, it's a little bit different for me because of all the theories that I've heard and thought of. I feel like a lot of them are like, they sound good to me, you know. So it's not like I don't think. Like, it's not obvious to me where the stone is, but there's a lot of good possibilities for where the stone is that I do want to talk about. But I don't know if do you want to say that for part 2?
All right, well, let's talk about this. Let's just get into this. So let's hear what you want to say about it, and then I'll follow that up. Okay,
so as far as the Soul Stone contained, there's a couple of different places where I think it could be. So one, I'm just going to go down the list and I'm going to explain them. So 1 is Wakanda. 2 is Heimdall. 3 is Iron Man. And 4 is Adam Warlock or him. So firstly, the Wakanda theory, the heart-shaped herb. So this is kind of based on 2 things. So 1, we know the herb is what gives the Wakandan kings their power, but we don't really know where this herb comes from. And we also know that as I said, this is the Soul Stone, and we also know that the ritual for giving the Wakandan king his power, he travels to another plane, another dimension, where he speaks with the souls of those who came before him. So it kind of makes sense for those 2 things to be connected, the Soul Stone with a ritual that gives you power, that you basically consult with souls of past leadership. And this also goes hand in hand with another theory. It's called the Thanos Theory, where each of the Soul Stones have been found in a location that starts with the letter from Thanos' name. So the Time Stone, I'm gonna try and remember this the best I can. So the time stone N is the N in Thanos. It comes from the necklace, the Eye of Agamotto. The reality stone is in the Aether. That's the A for Thanos. The power stone, that is in, I believe, I should have wrote this down. But the power stone was in the sphere, which is the S. It's either sphere or orb, but I'll know once I get to the rest of them. The mind stone, the yellow stone, was in the scepter. That's the S, and then the O is the orb for the power stone.
So the letter in Thanos' name refers to the receptacle that the gem was
found in, and then the tesseract is the T in Thanos, and so the last stone, the soul stone, according to that theory, the only letter, I know I said them out of order, but the only letter that's missing is the H. So the herb, the heart-shaped herb, that's what I'm thinking could possibly be. And then the other thing that goes with that theory is Heimdall. Every time we see Heimdall, you know, he has those orange eyes. He's kind of like...
Remind me who Heimdall is.
Heimdall is the gatekeeper for Asgard.
Okay.
So Heimdall has orange eyes, and we also see in a flashback, I believe it's in... I want to say it's in Thor the Dark World. It's either in Dark World or Ragnarok, but we see Heimdall without his orange eyes. He's blind. So maybe in some way, after Thanos gets the Soul Stone from Heimdall, he goes blind, because I don't know, it might be kind of a reach, but yeah, that's one of the theories. And then the last theory also starts with an H, is him. So if y'all don't know, Guardians 2 ended. The after credit scene in that movie, we have the golden people. I don't remember their name.
Me neither. I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, those weird golden people. They have this. They show a shot of this container. It looks like there's a body in it.
It's a very important man.
Exactly, and she's talking about this guy in this container is the key to beating the Guardians. And I won't call this spoilers because this is kind of from the comics, or I guess it's kind of spoilers. But this is from the comics, so we're thinking that the person in that container is him, or a guy named Adam Warlock, who is this like sort of perfect being who is made basically for the purpose of stopping the Guardians.
Much like Vision.
But
he wasn't made by accident or like in a rush.
Exactly.
He was been planned.
So I'm glad you said much like Vision, because also like Vision, I'm thinking that the Soul Stone might be where he gets his power from, or the Soul Stone might be what powers him. So
I could see that.
Yeah.
I definitely so I hadn't heard some of those, so that's why I wanted to like listen to that for a second. The one that definitely I read about in
there's one more.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So one more real quick is Iron Man. So this is kind of, I guess, more of a stretch, but there was promotional art for I believe it's for Infinity War. And they have each of the gems corresponding perfectly with the movies that they were in. So you have Thor with the Tesseract gem, or no, it was either Captain America or Thor, because we see it in both movies. Thor with the Aether, I believe, the red gem. We see Doctor Strange with the green gem.
That sounds like it kind of the stones seem to affect the color palette.
Yeah, of the
because
movie,
I'm like,
right?
when I think of Doctor Strange movie, I think of green. When I think of that old, we don't talk about that Thor movie anymore, but I think of that, I think of red.
Yeah.
Guardians always makes me think of purple.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Iron Man, weirdly,
Man 3
aligned with the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that was something they let slip that they didn't think about, but maybe something having to do with Iron Man's what's the thing in his chest called?
His
arc reactor.
Yes.
Maybe something to do with his arc reactor. It has to do with the Soul Stone, but this is like super speculation. So I'll just I'll let you say what you want to say.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to double down on, so I'm putting my chips in on the Wakanda theory, and I would agree with you. Let's see, I would be way more open to some of your theories in the comic book universe. But since we're exclusively talking about the films, I feel like the possibility that the Soul Stone is somewhere in or around Wakanda is the most likely. Number one, glaringly, we see huge shots of Wakanda in
the trailer
for Infinity War.
Yep.
Number 1. And then also they talk about a meteor that way back in the past, that landed in the now present Wakandan area of Africa.
Right.
And they said that the meteor was glowing. Of course, it's falling from space, so it's probably on fire. But the meteor was carrying vibranium. And which
is the source of Wakanda's like everything.
Right. And it's believed that the vibranium within the meteor that may have also contained the Soul Stone absorbed some of the Soul Stone's power, which explains why vibranium does what it does and why it's so powerful.
And we also know that Wakanda is basically built on a mountain of vibranium.
Yeah, right? So it would explain that there would be a vibranium deposit where a vibranium meteor landed.
Right.
And then on top of that, the Soul Stone primarily, like, it gives you the ability to manipulate souls, number 1. You can condemn someone's soul to a pocket dimension, which can also be considered an astral plane, because I'm assuming the conditions of the pocket dimension depends on the person's intentions of putting someone there. And then on top of that, even the Soul Stone gives the wielder the ability to steal someone else's powers and abilities. So my theory there is that if the meteor
also bring life back from the dead.
Oh, really? I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
So my general idea is that this meteor landed here a long time ago. The Wakandans have profited from it, and then we also have the weird, unexplained heart fruit, as you mentioned before. Yeah. And so when you eat the heart fruit, you get this power, and then you also visit the spiritual plane, which can also be a pocket dimension.
Yeah.
So I think just for the purposes, I'm not closing myself off to those other theories, but just for the purposes of the film, I feel like they're going that because Black Panther feels like he could be a Soul Stone player.
Oh, yeah.
If we want to call him Soul Stone player. So we have Thor, we have Tony, we have Vision, we have, who am I missing? We have Strange, and then we would have Black Panther.
Right.
And we have Peter Quill. So they're kind of like, they would be like the heads of all their respective areas coming together. So that's just, I think, I would put my chips on that. So you're
leaning towards the Black Panther?
I'm leaning towards Black Panther because it would make, of course, people don't judge me. I'm not racist. I just live in a world of color. And wouldn't it make sense for the black people to have the Soul Stone?
I mean, yeah.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. And let's be honest, am I wrong in saying Black Panther is like a favorite now? Based on how well the movie did?
I think it's your favorite.
That's just me. He is one of my favorite.
I'm just joking.
But no, I agree with...
But I think he's holding like his whole situation down for sure.
Yeah. But I definitely agree. I agree with probably my most strongest belief is the Wakanda theory as well. But I will say, I think the Iron Man one is the most interesting.
I do too. I agree. Like that one took me by surprise because because Tony has a lot of like inner turmoil going on, so like that would be very like interesting.
So I'm like, and what if it was just there the whole time, like in front of us from the very beginning, and we just never knew
do that a lot.
That would be like the craziest like mind thing ever. But yeah, so those are our predictions on the stone. I think now is probably a good point to cut it and come back for part two. I was just gonna say we keep rolling and then. Yeah, so this was part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. We're gonna be coming back with where all the major players are, where all the characters are at now, and basically our predictions on who's gonna die in Infinity War, who's gonna live, who's gonna work with who's gonna do what, all that stuff. So just stay here for part 2. We shall return.